All right, we're live. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be here. Happy Friday. Hope you're all having a good day. And I will get my microphone closer to me so you can actually hear what I am saying. But yeah, welcome everybody. What's up, Deadline? How you doing, bro? Saw your chat before I started the stream. So today, guys, we are going to. Oh, I can hear myself on my phone. Sorry, I have that. There's always technical difficulties. Today we're gonna go over what's in the thumbnail, which is some of the Sword and Shield alt art movements. I also recorded a separate video summarizing the same things in like 20-ish minutes or so. So I will post that probably tonight. So go check that out. If you are watching this back later, then you'll probably get re-summarize of that in that video later. But yeah, we're going to go over a couple of the ones that I'm seeing move the most. Again, a lot of these, it's crazy. I can't keep up with it. I check in as often as I can, which really means like once or twice a week. And they just continue to perform well. The V alternate arts specifically are performing very, very well. So in the thumbnail, I put the Dragonite and the Umbreon. There are a couple others, the Lugia, the Charizard V. So we'll take a look at those raw and PSA 10s and just go over them. And also some opportunities that I see with some of these Sword and Shield alt arts. Then after that, we will do some live collection reviews. So for anyone that doesn't know, I have created a, see if I can share my screen. There. Oh. I have created a Google form that you can fill out. The link is in the description below. I'm trying to do my best. I've only worked through a couple of them. I have like 20 or so to go through still. So we're going to try to do a couple of them today. But essentially, I thought it would be a good idea to be able to provide people like direct feedback on their collection and or investment portfolio. So all you have to do is click the link, sign into Google, fill out your these questions. And the main one is dropping a link to your collection or portfolio. You can do this with the Collector app. You could do this with pictures or Pokédata, I think also. But the Collector app seems to be the most common one that people use. And just for anyone who doesn't know what that is, let me pull that up real quick. I think most of you will know. But like, here's an example. I did a video of Chris's earlier this week. I haven't posted it yet, but essentially it's a quick link where I can access and take a look at your portfolio and your holdings, and it helps me give you good feedback. So yeah, if you think that is a helpful service or you'd be curious to get some feedback on your collection, go ahead and fill that out. There are some questions about if you're okay with me talking about it on a video. And I will provide written feedback as well. So I'll give you an email later on. I'm doing them in the order I received them, like actual me typing, looking at your collection, and giving you my honest feedback on things I think you could improve on or things that look good. And just based on what you're looking for. So I ask if you want to do long-term, short-term investing, long-term investing, short-term flips. You're unsure, you're collecting for fun, your monthly budget for cards, and then anything specific. So like Chris did a good job of indicating that he wanted to trim a few things off in order to buy some of the new mega sets, which I thought was a good decision. So yeah, so there's that. And again, link is in the description if you are interested or want to use that service. But yeah, let's go over some of these alt arts. So there have been some interesting movers. The first ones I want to talk about are obviously the two in the thumbnail, the Umbreon and the Dragonite V. I will pull up alt as well so we can look at the PSA 10s. But man, this thing, the sales data is a little bit, actually, hold on one sec. Let me sign into TCG Player just so we can see the full list. The sales data is a little bit wonky on the Umbreon, I will say. So there were some that were in the low, I don't know, low 400s recently, it looked like. But then a couple days before that, there was multiple in $700, $800, $900. So I don't know if this car is just getting massively bought out. Obviously, there is, it used to sell, let's say, 1 to 5 items a day. It is like averaging 10 to 20 items a day now. It's interesting how we get more sales volume as the price goes up. Sometimes that's an indicator people are, one person is buying a lot of them, but it could also be people seeing the card starting to move and wanting to jump in. Because obviously, sort of the point of the video I'll be making later is that there's a lot of VMAXs that aren't seeing a lot of moves. There's a few that are, but like the Umbreon, for example, is one exception for sure, where we saw at the beginning of the month, this one, I think the PSA 10s were like $3,000, and then there was a sale for 2,900 or $3,000 for the raw copy. And so I'm not surprised to see this one pretty much push up from 1,300, 1,400 all the way up to $2,000 now. So that could be also a reason why the V is starting to move. I don't know. You'll notice that a lot of these actually started to move around the same time, kind of this late August, early September. They really started to pick up. So the Umbreon V has pretty much doubled. Well, more than doubled in the last 3 months. It was a $200 to $300 card. It is now a $600-ish card if you are taking out some of these outliers of the recent sales, which, I mean, maybe we can check eBay real quick just while we're here to double check and see if these are actually selling for like $500 to $600. Yeah, let's see. Recent sale for $11.50 for PSA 10. 489 one bid, 310. 500 for a PSA 9, 479. So I would say it's probably like a $450 to $500 card at least. So either way, whether it's 600, 500, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is this card is like doubled in a really short amount of time. The same with the Dragon. 180 to 220 for like the longest time last year. Yeah, I mean, pretty much this whole time period right here. 120. I mean, I guess it was mid 200s, but obviously huge spike in the last couple weeks, especially. And this card has gone from a mid $200 card in early to mid August all the way up to pretty much double $500 card now. And I think the PSA 10s are probably the same. I think this one is over $1,000 or near $1,000 if it's not already. But the thing is, really, like, if you look at the stats for especially Evolving Skies, yeah, over $1,000. The alternate art Vs, I know people are saying, well, there's thousands of them in PSA 10. While that is true, there's probably not that many listed on eBay right now. And also, the Vs in general have pretty difficult PSA 10 rates compared to the VMAXs. So, like, if I looked up the Umbreon V, if I can click this, Umbreon V Alt Art. This one has 7,099 PSA 10s and almost 6,000 PSA 9s. So it's almost, it's actually probably a little bit less than 50% when you add the 8s and stuff. So let's say a little bit under 50%. But then when we look at the Umbreon VMAX, I know this card's over 70%, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, 18,000 PSA 10s, only 5,000 9s. Add up the rest of them, you're still going to be way less 10s or way less 9s and everything else than 10s. So that could be a reason. Again, it's really the time frame in which a lot of these have increased that is a little bit spotty or iffy. But those are the two biggest ones I saw. Some of the other big ones were, I think this Rayquaza V has jumped quite a bit. Not as much, so about 30%. I think there was like the Lugia I said, and the Charizard. So let's quickly look at those because these are big movers. So the Lugia is probably one of the biggest winners in this bull market. The Lugia and Silver Tempest it is pretty insane what this set has done recently, considering that the booster boxes were in stock on Pokemon Center just over a year ago for 140 bucks. And I think at the time the market price was like 160, I want to say, on TCG Player. Yeah, 160 a year ago, last September. Now it's a $500+ box, $488 box. The top chase card, the Lugia, is also pushing $500. I mean, this card was mid 200s not that long ago. 3 months ago. Then it went to the 300s, now it's up in the 400s. And obviously, this one we've talked about on the show a couple times, but this one in a PSA 10, I believe, is one of the more expensive Vs as of right now. Obviously, you have Giratina and stuff, but for how high in population this one is, it is definitely the biggest winner. 20,000 PSA 10s, crazy. 12,000 PSA 9s, and it's still $1,200 card. This was kind of my logic. A lot of people didn't understand when I said the Umbreon V will likely push this price point soon. Not only because of the pop, but also you have Umbreon as a Pokemon. But a lot of people were saying, oh, the Lugia V alternate art, like the artwork is so much better. And while I probably agree with that somewhat, I did still think that this card was going to jump, at least in a PSA 10, just because there was none really on the market. But that is the Silver Tempest Lugia. And then the other kind of surprising one, or maybe not surprising to some of you, the Charizard V. This one has jumped quite a bit as well to mid 300s. So it's about 90% in the last 3 months, from low 200s up to high 300s. Confirmed sales all over the place. Granted, the conditions are a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty much mid 300s, I would say. And then I think the PSA 10s have also crossed 1,000. So a lot of these top chase V alternate arts are $1,000 PSA 10s now, even with their very high pop reports. Okay, not quite 1,000, 900, but it's pushing. Because if we just go back even a couple months ago, this is still in September. I'm curious what it was. I guess like July. Yeah, you can see it in the 400 to 500s. So it's almost doubled in that 3-month time frame for both the raw and PSA 10s. So very impressive moves from the Vs. I don't know if it's buyouts. I don't know if people are just waking up to the fact that they're a little bit harder to grade than the VMAXs. But in the video that I'll be posting, I sort of chill a lot of these VMAX evolutions because these ones have remained relatively flat. And I just don't see a world in which the Umbreon V is going to push, $700 raw, $600 raw, and the VMAX is $2,200, but then you're going to have Leafeon, Sylveon, Glaceon, even Espeon from Fusion Strike, all being at or below. I mean, I guess Leafeon is 382, but the rest of them, Sylveon, Glaceon, and Espeon, they're pretty much all at or around $300 raw, which again, for a lot of people, that's a very expensive card. I know. I'm just saying, relative to the rest of the market and how big of some of these jumps have been on some of these Vs, like these are literally 100% gains. Another one, look at the Rayquaza VMAX. You think even the V had a 30% jump, yet the VMAX has had a 20%. Again, over the year, it's done well, but it was an $800 card at one point, and it's sitting at $600, I guess between $600 to $700. Do I think that the Umbreon V deserves to be more expensive than the Rayquaza VMAX? I don't know, but all I'm saying is I do think there are further corrections to the upside or downside that we may see with some of these cards. With some of these VMAXs, especially these Evolving Skies VMAXs, I do think we may see some corrections to the upside because at this price point, they're starting to become attractive to me, and I'm someone who's avoided them for such a long time. So I do think that's saying quite a bit. But look at this. It's a 2,000. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about, right? How is it that this card is going to be $2,000 in a PSA 10 It has a 70-something% PSA 10 rate, yet the raw card is going to remain down this much. I don't know. Same thing I was thinking about with, again, I talk about it in the video that I'll be posting soon, but with Blaziken, I may have to re-record the videos just because the prices have slightly changed since yesterday, but most of them are the same. The Blaziken VMAX, really not my favorite card. It is a cool looking card, but I want to illustrate a point very similar to the Rayquaza. So this one's up 3% in the last 3 months, but over the last 6 months, it's still down a bit. It's a $300 to $400 card, but the PSA 10 is now pushing over $1,000 as well. So how is it that the Blaziken, dude, where are the PSA 10s? Oh my gosh. Sorry. That was going smooth until I tried to find this. The Blaziken VMAX is over 1,000. Okay, maybe not. Okay, well, there's some over 1,000. Okay, it's like a $900 card. Still, it's like a 2.5 to 3x. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, but I just feel like a few of these cards, especially some of these VMAXs, have remained relatively flat throughout this bull market, this really harsh uptick period. They're harder to pull. They're easier to grade, but they're harder to pull. And we're just not seeing the raws or the PSA 10s really. Or some of the PSA 10s are upticking, but I know people who followed the Leafeon for a long time. The VMAX, especially for the Leafeon, was almost the same price raw as PSA 10 for a really long time. There was a period where this card was like $400 or $500 raw, and the PSA 10 was more or less the same price. I mean, this card should not be, in my opinion, like barely 1.5 times more expensive than the raw, regardless of pop report, in my opinion. But could be the actual percentage 10 rate on these VMAXs that is causing this. But I don't know. It just feels weird. And maybe the Umbreon's an outlier because this is like the grail card of the modern Pokemon era, according to everyone. And so maybe that is part of the issue. But let me see. I want to try and launch a poll, see if I can ask you guys a poll in the chat. So I'm going to put a poll and say, do we think VMAX alt arts are due to go on a run as well? I know the Gengar and the Umbreon, I think, have already ran up, but I want to see if this works. Drop your votes in the chat. Maybe not the best question to ask, but I'm just curious. Okay. So what else did I want to go over? There's also been some massive moves with trainer galleries. Now, the video I recorded yesterday did not go over trainer galleries because it would have been like an hour-long video. But just to show you guys some of the moves from the trainer galleries, it's pretty interesting as well. I guess we'll start oldest to newest. So it will be Brilliant Stars. And then we could do Crown Zenith too. Crown Zenith is like fucking bananas. But Brilliant Stars, some of these top hits are more or less the same prices that they have been. Dude, these Evolution full arts, I really sold these too early. I had so many. I had 50 plus of each of these that I got around $4 each. And I sold them when they hit like 10-ish, $9 to $10-ish each. So it was like about a 2x. But yeah, they're all, I mean, these two are still in the low 12s, but the Vaporeon's pushing 20, Flareon's pushing $16. These are really hard to grade in PSA 10s. Brilliant Stars is just like such a good trainer gallery. I think it's one thing to just have the Evolutions, but it has the Zekrom, which popped off because of Journey Together at the time, and also Mimikyu. This Mimikyu V is one of the best looking, definitely one of the best trainer galleries in my opinion, but also just it looks like an alt art. And honestly, at $60, I don't even think it's that bad. I remember buying these at like 30, and still felt like they were criminally undervalued. And even at $60, I could see this card being $70, $80 card easily. Kind of up here with the Umbreon at some point, but it is an expensive card. Don't get me wrong, but just for what it is, it feels kind of cheap. It's like a Mimikyu alt art with Gengar in there. It's just a really good looking card. Do you think Chilling gets hurt by not having a gallery? I honestly don't think so. Chilling is a really deep set, and it still has pretty good set value. I was just looking at Pokédata the other day. I think it still is like $1,600 or $1,700 set value. I don't think it gets hurt by not having a trainer gallery, but I will say like the depth that it has are not the most popular Pokemon. Granted, I think for the Pokemon that they look really good. The Snorlax Secret looks great. The Galarian Articuno looks great. I'm not a huge fan of Shadow Rider, Calyrex. The Galarian Slowking I think looks great. Zeraora V is like one of the when I first saw alternate arts, this was like the card where I was like, this is gorgeous. He's like touching the sunrise. Galarian Rapidash looks great, but it's just not that popular of a Pokemon. So it has really cool cards and it has some depth. I think the Galarian Moltres, honestly, similar to the Blaziken, I think the Galarian Moltres honestly should have been like the top chase in the set. Yeah, I still think this one has room to go up. This thing is like absolute banger. This is like S tier quality alternate art in my opinion. I think this one's like $600 or $700. But similar to the Blaziken, it's down 3% from its highs in the last 6 months. It's up 7% in the last month, but really, you go from 170 to 190. That's not that big of a jump. Like if you're buying a $170 card, you can still afford it at 190 most likely. And you can probably get them for better deals at these shows. But like if we look at the Galarian Moltres V alt art, I think this is one of the best V alternate arts. While we're talking about the topic of V alt arts popping off, it's kind of surprising that this one hasn't. I don't know if it's just because of Chilling, but it kind of follows that same trend, as far as lower pop. But it looks like it is easier to grade than the Umbreon and the Dragonite that we took a look at. Obviously, it's not quite as popular of a Pokemon, but it's a great looking card. And it's like 3x the raw price, so I can see the raw picking up soon. Beautiful cards. I think it just gets talked about less because of that. Yeah, I mean, Chilling has always been when Fusion and Chilling first came out, I wasn't super involved in the hobby, but I wasn't super involved in Pokemon. I was more into Dragon Ball, but at the time I remember lots of people not being fans of Chilling and Fusion Strike. And really the only reason I have Fusion and Chilling cases, or I have one of each booster box cases, is because I felt like the set was deep at the time. Fusion, I just thought the Gengar was sick, but Chilling, it felt like this set was much deeper than people were giving it credit for. I mean, it goes deep, man. What's interesting is like has a Blaziken VMAX, Tornadus, Blissey. Like it has some sleepers. This Ice Rider Calyrex is actually one of my favorite Vs from the set. And I'm not a huge fan of these Calyrex cards, but like the actual artwork is insane on some of them. And the texture's super gorgeous. You have a Celebi VMAX. It's interesting because Celebi was in Fusion Strike, but it felt like it should be. It felt like this should be in Fusion Strike or the Celebi V should be in Chilling Reign. It kind of felt like that was the vibe, but I mean the boxes are still doing very well. I do think it will. It's up 40% in the last 3 months, 80% in the last 6 months. So the boxes are still doing very well. But yeah, I do think it gets talked about less. Also, maybe it's because the Blaziken doesn't have quite enough pull, and then you drop off kind of steep to the Galarian Moltres. But it just feels like for being a pretty, I don't want to say it's a mid-tier set, but just like the distribution of hits is more mediocre, but you get a lot more options to choose from, I feel like, than just looking for a single big card. But just continuing on, good question though, Jesse, or good thought process. Moving on to the Astral Radiance Trainer Gallery. Obviously, we have the Starmie and the Garchomp, which the Garchomp's actually gone down a bit, which is interesting because Cynthia's Garchomp in Destined is such a popular card. I would have thought this card would have done way better. So it's actually down 20% in the last 6 months. What did it peak at? Like 100? No, 80. So this actually could be a good pickup too. I don't know what the PSA 10s are going for. Garchomp VTG. Let's see. Wow. Honestly, hold on. 60, so 60 to like 240. Okay, so it's still a decent multiple. 220 just feels so cheap on this card. I don't know why. But then again, trainer galleries are kind of hit or miss for some people. Starmie is gorgeous card. This one's still performing pretty well. It's pretty much reaching it back to its all-time highs, a couple dollars short. But in the last 3 months, it's gone back from $80 up to 100 again. So 20, 30% increase. And then, but I will say this card got dethroned actually. So for the longest time, the Starmie V was the most expensive trainer gallery. We'll get to it in a second here, but it got dethroned by none other than the Rayquaza. I think that's how I'm supposed to be saying it. I always said Rayquaza. But this guy got dethroned by the Starmie got dethroned by the old Rayquaza. 96% in the last 3 months. Holy hell. I mean, we all knew this card was going to do well, but no one would have thought it would have happened that quickly. From $75 up to almost $150. Fucking ridiculous. All right, let's put a poll. I'm going to put another poll. Do we pronounce it Rayquaza or Rayquaza? Let's see. Start a poll. How do you pronounce Rayquaza? Rayquaza. Rayquaza? Rayquaza. Rayquaza. Let's see. Wait, shit. Oh, wait, no, I did it right. How do we pronounce it? Two votes for Rayquaza. See, everyone pronounced it that way. It's because I don't know if you guys saw, but Pokemon, I'm pretty sure Pokemon published on their Instagram that it's actually pronounced Rayquaza. And maybe they said that in the movies. I don't remember. But I was just like, bro, my whole world just got flipped upside down. Where did they post it? I don't know if I'll be able to find it. They post so much shit on their Instagram. I probably won't be able to find it. Anyways, okay. Little side rant there. Yeah, 4 votes. Everyone who's voted has said Rayquaza, so that's how you say it. That is how you say it. Okay. So, Astral, that kind of wraps up Astral. There's really not too much depth to Astral. Again, the Ice Rider Calyrex V, even the Shadow Rider, the trainer galleries, bangers. Bangers. Gorgeous card. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what you want in an alt art. Beautiful trainer gallery. Perfectly executed. I like the black borders on them. And this one too. Banger, banger, banger. $10, $15 cards. Not too bad. The Kingdra is actually a good looking one too. This one started to move a little bit, it looks like. And then you got the birds. The Zacian is also one of my favorites. This is just such a cool scene with Hop and Zacian. So yeah, I really like that one too. But again, the trainer gallery for Astral is not super deep. It's just really top heavy with the Starmie and the Garchomp. Lost Origin. This one has been ripping. the actual trainer gallery. So the Pikachu VMAX, $85. Pikachu V at $75. Gengar. This was a $20 card. This thing is $55. Again, never fade Gengar. New rule of thumb. 234% in the last 3 months. Bruh. From $15 to $20 all the way up to $55. Oh my god. Over 1000% gains in a year. Not even a $5 card a year ago. Imagine being someone right here. Imagine if this was one person that bought like 100 copies at $5 and now you have them at $50 and you just start trickling them out. Or you bring them to shows or whatever. And I'm not even that big of a fan of this artwork. That could be a hot take. It's a cool like background. It's just a little bit weird. It doesn't feel like Gengar to me. But I don't know the lore behind this scene. But the card itself, yeah, don't fade Gengar. The Pikachu as well. Really, really picked up steam. I think this was like a $10 card. Near mint. Let's see. A little bit more than $10. Up 114%. Sure, it's the same story. Yeah, all these trainer galleries are going to be like 400 or 500% on the year, and probably at least double, aka 100% in the last month or so. Or sorry, last 3 months. Silver Tempest. We looked at the Rayquaza. I believe the Blaziken is also like performed really well, percentage wise. Not my favorite card, to be honest. Okay, maybe it's more moderate. Over the year, it's done very well, but 30-ish% in the last 3 months. So, moral of the story is a lot of these cards are performing very well, even the kind of less sought after Pokemon. I do think there's a couple still. Like, I remember buying a decent amount of copies of this Altaria. I don't have it anymore, but at $4, I'm not opposed to picking up some of these. Now, I don't think they're going to go to $10 overnight, but if they do anything remotely similar to what's happened to some of these others, again, these are kind of the top chases, but it's a good looking card. You got Licia in there and Altaria, the waifu cards, even the Gardevoir, the Braixen. Like, there's a couple of these that are still like $3, $4. It's a little bit ridiculous. Shocked there hasn't been a Malamar buyout either with the Mega Malamar announcement, but I know Malamar is not a super popular Pokemon. But like, in my opinion, Kricketune V and Altaria should not be similar price points. Even the Milotic, yeah. So I will just leave it there. Do with that information what you will, but if you wanted a copy of those, I wouldn't think that's such a bad idea. Crown Zenith. I am not going to spend too much time on this one because I think everybody knows the story on Crown Zenith. But this set, honestly, if you bought and hold anything from this set, whether it was sealed products, singles, slabs, and you were able to withstand the ups and downs, this set rewarded you the most in the last year. Recently, I put on my story the Mewtwo V-Star for at least a couple days actually surpassed the Giratina in price for a while. But over the last 3 months and the last year too, this card is absolutely skyrocketed from pretty much a $100 card to a $200+ card, seemingly overnight. The Giratina is a little bit more steady because I know it's pretty much passing its all-time highs now. So again, I'm not super opposed to picking up a Giratina right now if you want one for your collection or you think now's a good time to buy. It kind of consolidated down here for, I can't even say it consolidated for a while, because it's really just for a few weeks and then it just starts moving again. But yeah, most recent sale at $250. Still seems like it's like a $220 card, but I think the PSA 10s probably are also what, 500 or 600. V-Star GG. You can obviously buy the other gold cards. They're also either reaching or crossing their all-time highs. But I would say if I had to pick one right now to bet on, the Giratina always stands out more than the other three. Whether you like it or not, I think it just kind of overshadows them a little bit. But obviously all four of them together are like a connecting artwork, which looks good. But yeah, the PSA 10s are approaching $600. So it's about a 2.5 to 3x return after grading fees on that card. But yeah, moral of the story, I mean, I could show you guys like the Mew glaring gallery. I talked about this one a while back in an old video that I posted. Granted, it actually went down before it went back up, but it's recently gone on an absolute tear from like $20 up to $40+. All you can look at any of these Crown Zenith cards, they're pretty much all going to show 300, 400, 500, 1,000% gains in the last year, which is disgusting because they're so plentiful, or they were so plentiful. But there's a couple of them, like the Pikachu, the Mew, that have in the last 3 months just seen huge gains, 190% in the last 3 months. Another one I talked about in the video, which I would have never expected, was this Lapras. So honestly, me showing you this right now, I would just check your binders, check your bins if you had these as bulk, because these are up significantly. This was a $6 card 3 months ago. It's $20 now. I think they're great looking cards, but if you have a fair number of them, it could be a good time to unload if you're wanting to take some profits and put that into something else. But again, kind of how I assess this stuff sometimes is I'm like, do I think this Lapras full art glaring gallery, great looking card, gorgeous card for a Lapras, do I think it is deserving of being so close to like this Hisuian Zoroark V-Star at $26, within a $5 price range, or even close to the Deoxys or Pikachu, the Deoxys V-Star or the Pikachu? My answer is no. Your answer might be different. All I'm trying to say is that that's kind of how I rationalize some of the things where I'm like, okay, either the Lapras is overvalued right now to me, or, which is more commonly the case, I think that these are undervalued. Not even my favorite cards, but I know this Deoxys V-Star is like a lot of people's favorite, or one of their favorites. So I'm kind of shocked. Again, this one's performing really well. Don't get me wrong. It's up 60% in the last 3 months, so from $20 to $30. But I mean, you can even see some sales recently in the kind of mid 20s. I don't think this card deserves to be anywhere near the Lapras. Because again, it kind of gaps up from there. You kind of get out of this $30 price range into the 40s, 50s, and then 100 plus. But yeah, you could have chosen any card from Crown Zenith and pretty much been up a significant amount. Some of them have taken longer than others, but overall, they're all doing very well. This Latias was another one that I talked about in that video. Again, probably over 6 months ago, but it was just, it felt like for the artwork that these were eventually going to do well. And yeah, the last year, unlucky number 666.52%. I'm so deep in the Zamazenta V and Pikachu 160. Is the 160 the secret rare? And I'm assuming you're talking about this Zamazenta. This is a good card too. I don't think it's grown quite as quickly, but still doing well. 24% or 25%, let's say, in the last 3 months. Still up 100% of the year. I remember selling these for like $8 to $10 at my first card shows. And then I know you're talking about the Crown Zenith. This Pikachu, yeah, this other Pikachu has absolutely done so well in the last couple months. This secret rare, which again, I'm not trying to give financial advice. I'm just giving you guys my viewpoint on it. This is a great looking Pikachu. Don't get me wrong. Love it. It might be harder to pull because I know there was like God packs for these or whatever. So maybe it's the fact that this is harder to pull that this deserves to be the price it is. But in comparison to this Pikachu, which I think objectively looks so much better, has so many other Pokemon, it has texture on the card. When you get the secret rare, if you have it in person, you'll know. But they are very similar in price. Again, $7 difference, so maybe that's a decent enough chunk, but the actual growth is this almost the same. If not, this one's actually performed better. The last 3 months, this is up 190%. The secret rare is up 160%. I know there are thousands of these out there, but I'm just saying, if I'm looking at cards as objectively as possible, I think that this one probably has more room, has more upside. I mean, you can see people buying 15 copies. So yeah, if you are wanting one of those, could be a good time to pick it up. But let's see. Pikachu. I'm assuming that one, I didn't check the card number, is 160. Yeah. Let's see. 22,000 PSA 10. So yeah, not a low pop, but gorgeous looking card. And again, when you put pop aside, like people are always going to want this card. Like people who have it already are most likely willing to take on more of them because it's just a good looking card. They know they can sell it. And look at the multiple. I mean, if we're talking like, what is that? If we do the math, right? What is the math on this? I want to see. So let's just call it $40 to be, or actually, let me clear that. $40 is the price of the raw. And let's say it's at, let's be more conservative. Let's say 260. So 260 divided by 40. So 6.5x. That's pretty high, I think. And again, you probably, you could subtract $20 for grading. So 240 divided by 40. And this, again, I think this is a conservative estimate. 6x or a 500% increase. Even with a 22,000 PSA 10 pop. I want to see what the Crown Zenith pop report in general is. I guarantee you it's over 500,000 now. It's probably more graded than Evolutions. Let's see. Yeah, 515,000. Let's see Evolutions pop report. Evolutions 400,000. Yeah, so it's already beat Evolutions. I don't think Hidden Fates was quite as much either. I think Hidden Fates is like 400,000. It's crazy that I'm able to just like throw that number around as if it's not a huge number, but it obviously is. Yeah, 400,000. So Crown Zenith takes the cake so far. I think it might be. Is it the most graded? Does anyone know? If anyone in the chat knows, is Crown Zenith the most graded? Is Crown Zenith the most high graded, most graded modern or English Pokemon set of all time? Could be wrong. I don't know. I just fumbled my words so bad. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, that's the one. Crazy PSA 10 pop. Yeah. So let's see if we can find it real quick just to prove a point here. Yes. I'm curious. It's probably out of, there was 19,010 or 9, so it's probably out of like 50,000. 40,000. 14,000 nines. Yeah, shit ton of them out there. Let's see some of the Galarian galleries. I want to see the gold cards. God, this set is so freaking big, dude. It's like 2 pages, plus I put 500 on each. I think it's because they printed it in so many languages. I mean, you can see Leafeon V-Star is 10,000 out of 17,000. Entei, 12,000 out of 19,000. Suicune, 12,000 out of 21,000. Glaceon, Raikou, Mewtwo, 20,000 out of 33,000. So yeah, these are all very, very high pops. But honestly, again, for 500,000 cards graded, for 10,000 of them to be PSA 10s, and you have potentially hundreds of thousands of people wanting to collect that artwork, there's probably not a single Mewtwo fan who looks at this card and says they don't want it. I know that's a general statement, but, or like an over, you can't always say always, but there's probably 90%, 95% of Mewtwo collectors that would not want a freaking Kamehameha Mewtwo blasting Charizard in the freaking face in a PSA 10, even if it's 20,000 PSA 10 pop. The way I always see that is like, if I'm someone who likes that card or has a good time selling it, or like an easy time selling it, rather than just saying, oh, it's such a high pop, it's like, well, if they come to me at a good price, I'll take on more than one. I'm okay with that. But yeah. Such a huge set with so many promos. Yeah, it is a very, very big set. So, okay, I think we're going to get into or I'll take this last comment, and then we'll get into the collection reviews and do a couple of them if we can. And then I'm going to try to wrap up before 7-ish, so maybe within the next hour we'll wrap. Crown Zenith is ranked 6th for most graded. Huh. What is more graded than it? Is it Japanese sets? I bet you actually Gem Rate might have it. Gem Rate. Let's see. I don't know how to actually search for specific sets. This one might just show you. Oh, here we go. Can I filter? Oh, base set. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's 5th. There's base set from 1999. There is Japanese 151, Japanese Crown Zenith V-Star Universe, regular 151, and then English 151, and then English Crown Zenith. That is crazy. I mean, guys, if this list does not make you bullish on Pokemon, I don't know what will. Look at how many. Everything is Pokemon except for this freaking 1986 Fleer Jordan set, you know? Everything else is Pokemon in the top graded sets of all time. Yeah, I don't think we're struggling. Scroll down. 1, 2, 3. The rest is all Pokemon. There's like no other TCG that's even like coming close. How far down do I have to go for it to not be Pokemon? Okay, One Piece. Is this the first one? I mean, what? We're like 50 sets down? So there's probably 10 non-Pokemon sets in like the top 50 graded sets of all time. It's freaking ridiculous. It's not even close. Trending players. Let's see. Graded all time. Charizard and Pikachu. Graded more than Michael Jordan and LeBron and Ken Griffey Jr. It's insane. Like, you can literally compare Pokemon to like the most famous athletes in the world. Eevee and Blastoise more popular than Shaq, you know? It's crazy. It is crazy. Okay. I have so many of those in Japanese, but could never justify going in on the English with so many other cards to bank on. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard. And I don't can't knock you for going to Japanese on those. What's up, Chanfree? We were just talking about the most graded. I was going over the market prices for Crown Zenith, but then we were talking about the most graded sets of all time. I was curious if it was Crown Zenith, but I was off. It was I forgot about base set. Base set, what was it? Base set, Japanese 151, Japanese Crown Zenith, aka V-Star Universe, English 151, and English Crown Zenith. Which I gotta think, I wouldn't be surprised if 151 overtakes base set someday. But actually, maybe not. Look how much, dude, how is base set still being graded so much? How? It still has 2,500 cards a week being graded. I don't even know how, man. There's that much of it out there. Crazy. Okay. Let's do a couple collection reviews and then we will wrap it in like 45 minutes or so. Let's take a little breather. Let's take an intermission for a second. For like 3 or 4 minutes. So let me know what's up. How are you guys doing? How's your Friday? What do we got going on? Do you have any questions? And then we'll take on some collection reviews. I'll get them queued up in the meantime. I don't get how there are still gradable copies of base set. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how is that? I mean, that's like as much as all those other sets were getting graded. Besides 151, those were all the same. So that was a little bit crazy to see. You underestimate how many boomer business owners kept cases in the 90s. I know, it's just insane to me to think that like it continues to like you would think with how expensive it is, there would be less of it out there. Or yeah, there would be less of it out there, but there's so much. And maybe it's just because ever since like the Logan Paul boom, even that was like the main set that got pushed. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna queue up 3 of these. Holy shit. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of commons and uncommons get graded too. That's a good point. It's not just Charizards getting graded. There are other less sought after cards getting graded as well. Alrighty. Again, guys, if you want your collection reviewed or portfolio reviewed at any point, link is in the description. You just have to answer a couple quick questions. Paste your collector link or whatever link you use to track your collection. If you do that, and I will review it. I'm not going to do it live right now, but I will get to it and leave you both written and verbal feedback. If you're down for the verbal feedback in a video, you can do that. Otherwise, I will send you an email with my honest thoughts. But yeah, we're gonna start off with our boy Kaio Ben, his portfolio. I'm low-key thinking of moving like 20% of my Poke investments so I can do more active plays in the hobby. Selling the stuff is gonna be a hassle though. Yeah, it depends how you move it and like what you're actually needing to move. But yeah, having that extra 20% to like kind of burn and churn can be nice. I will say it ends up being a lot of work to do that as well. So just be aware, like you're gonna crank up the heat a little bit. But in the winter time, it's a good time to do that. So I've taken like such a big hiatus during the summer. I've been like barely selling anything unless it sells on eBay, which I really only have slabs on my eBay. But okay, we're gonna take a look at Mr. Kaio Ben's portfolio. So he's got just one view of this. You've got 153 cards, 4 sealed, 22 graded, $23,420. Let me see what his comments were also. He said his primary goal was long-term investing. His goal was short-term flips and profits. Typically spends $1,000 a month, 1,000 plus a month, and he's wondering what his next move could or should be. Let's take a look. So all right, just right off the bat, again, I haven't posted the other collection reviews yet, but I really am advocating. I'm like, I don't know if it's the right move. I'm just going with what my gut is telling me, which is to sell like a lot of the Chinese exclusive cards. I don't know why, but you know, if this card opened up at $1,000 in a PSA 10, which I think it did, and it's down to 600 now, I mean, it could go back up in the future, but I don't know. This is probably a card I would get rid of. And let's see what else. CGC 10 Charizard V-Star would probably get rid of that as well. Theme deck you can probably do without. Let's see what else. The rest of these are raw. I mean, the quickest way to move raw is either in a bulk lot at a percentage, but I feel like a lot of these are good cards, so I probably wouldn't do that. And most of them, if I go back up, are near mint. I mean, some of these aren't, but more vintage ones. But the best way to move these, honestly, is at shows. Believe it or not, having them in a binder, you'll get like the full top dollar that you're looking for, and also you'll be able to take in trades, and that kind of feeds into that flipping strategy where you can just kind of burn and churn. I would get rid of a lot of these like loose straggler cards if you can. Oh, they don't have prices for the vending. Um, I know Kaio, I think you still stream on Whatnot. I would probably like bundle some of these up into like small packs and do like maybe not mystery packs, but just like some sort of variation where you could get rid of a decent amount of singles for like a fair price where it has a ceiling and a floor. And you can make some money back to flip or like put into something else and not have to like individually sell every little thing. I would honestly keep the VMAXs right now or grade them. The Lugia is hard to tell. I feel like it has more downside than upside, at least right now. I could be wrong. The Mewtwo is an interesting one. So you have this in a 10, $1,700, collector says, in a PSA 10. This one's tough. This one's tough because as soon as they reprint Destin, this thing goes in the shitter, at least temporarily. And I think this card is still what, like a $300 card? So the multiple on it for a 10 is crazy, and it's probably just because not enough people have access to it to grade it. Let's see, Destin Rivals singles. Okay, it's up to $500, so it's definitely pushing up, probably due to the scarcity of boxes or like people hoarding boxes. So yeah, it's jumped quite a bit in the month, between $400 and $500, but it's still like a 4x. Even at 400, it's a 4x. 500, it's a 3x. I personally would probably just sell this. And I'm trying to see like upside downside. Do I think this card goes to 2,000 plus? Probably at some point, but as of right now, I don't know. It doesn't feel as strong as like some of these other cards that are. I mean, this is a really stacked top 5 here, actually. This Umbreon, I think, was like $300 in the PSA 10 last year. Okay, maybe 500. I was wrong, but now it's $2,500. That's pretty crazy. It's probably a hold though, just because it's Umbreon. I would maybe only sell it if someone was offering me over market, or if I got a trade in my favor for like other pretty strong cards or liquid cards. I would only trade like these top chases into like just a smaller handful of cards. I wouldn't take like thousands of singles unless I really needed them. I would take like 2 or 3,000-dollar, 500 to like $1,000 cards or something like that if I were trying to like get out of that position. But I don't mind keeping these two and the Mewtwo, honestly, because they've all outperformed any of my expectations, and so why even fade them? And the PSA 10, you can see this chart's a lot more natural in terms of steady incline since last year. I think this one will hold significant value because it's so freaking hard to grade these, dude. I helped consign 3 or 4 of these raw for my friend, and all 3 of them were near mint, but they all have this like white splotching, like Splatoon splotching on the back of them that makes them impossible to grade. So I would probably, honestly, everything else, my suggestion to you, if this is me, putting myself in your shoes, what I'm doing is I'm burning and churning through everything except anything that you think is gradable and gives you a good return. And I'm keeping the Evolution VMAXs raw if they're near mint, or grading them. Otherwise, I would just do like trades in my favor or something if you wanted to let them go. But I wouldn't be like super in a hurry to get rid of those ones. The Umbreon Chinese, I think this is just like a difference of opinion. I'm just not a fan of the Chinese cards. Just purely the language itself, I just don't think is going to hold up as well as people think, or rather, I think it's overvalued for how new it is. I probably would flip out of the Lugia. I would flip out of the Charizard, flip out of the Mewtwo. And then these top 4 cards, it's kind of up to you. I would really be like holding on pretty tough to these 3. The Mewtwo GX, the Lugia, and the Umbreon, unless there was a deal that like I couldn't refuse. Because I just see these ones still performing pretty well, and they're not like, I don't think they're like super overvalued or anything at their current price points. So I don't mind those. The Umbreon from Prismatic is really kind of a wild card where it's like I could see it continuing to perform well, like the Umbreon VMAX has continued to perform well. Like it rebounds every time it goes back down. But at the same time, Pokemon's still going to continue to nuke this set for another year. So it's really up to you. DJ Soy, what's up? No, I probably have not worked through yours yet. There's a fair number of them I have to get through, and I probably won't get through all of them today. That being said, I will be providing feedback both in written and video if you would like that. And probably posting some sort of short to my Instagram at some point. But yeah. Went to a show like 3 weeks ago. The most surprising thing is barely anyone at Destined Rival SIR's PSA 10s for sale. Yeah, I don't know what the let's see. Again, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. I know I said we're going to get through some of these, but this is all good research for us because I don't check all this stuff often enough. The Destined is already at 100,000 graded. Let's see. Hyper rare. Okay, special illustration rare. So the Moltres, you have 1,500 10s. Or if we look at all the SIRs, Yanmega 414, Moltres 1,500, Ethan Toho 2,000, Mewtwo 3,400, Cynthia's Garchomp 2,300, Nidoking 1,400, Crobat 1,100, Mabostiff 400, Ethan's Adventure 675, Ariana 355, Giovanni 469. So yeah, a lot of the trainers especially are very low, but these are kind of your big ones right here in the middle. I'm surprised you're not seeing more of them. I mean, it's not a crazy amount, but you would think you would see some of them at these shows. Maybe people are hoarding them. I don't know. Awesome, just in time. Yeah, we'll try to get to it, but I have no idea if we will or not. Okay, let's go to the next guy. So yeah, Kaio, I will try to I don't know if I can clip this later on or if I'll have to redo the review, but either way I'll get it to you. Okay, Kazon. Kazon said he's unsure and wants guidance. Typical monthly budget is between $100 to $500 and then nothing specific. So just guidance in general. Okay, so we got a couple different folders. You have a sale binder with art rares, and it looks like some trainer galleries and tag teams and such. And then a sale binder for, okay, regular EXs, Vs, all that stuff. Main collection, which I don't know if this is the stuff you want to hold on to. I'm assuming so. These probably look like these would be your favorite cards. And graded. We have a couple graded cards. Okay. Honestly, they're probably undervaluing this. So I would double check this with Alt, but a PSA 8 for $100 feels kind of cheap. I would probably rotate out. I don't know, Kazon, if any of these are like PC and you don't want to let them go, then by all means don't do that. But I probably, oh my god, this thing's $100. This is not financial advice, but if this were me, I would probably sell this card if it's over $100 in a PSA 9. I know it's continuing to do well, but there's just so many of them out there. It seems hard to want to hold this at $100. $115 for that matter. My low tick, kind of up to you. Kyogre, I probably would hold out or list it for a higher price because there's no way that this card is actually $105. In my opinion, you probably could sell this for 150 on eBay or 200, no problem. I haven't checked the comps. Not going to right now, but it's just my take. CGC 8.5, honestly, you're going to do better cracking this out and keeping it raw near mint than you are selling it as a CGC 8.5. I will say $46 feels cheap because if I go to TCG Player and look up near mint for this card, I know for a fact it's over $70. Let's double check that. Yeah, it's $100 card raw. So you would at minimum need to be selling this for $100. Even if you left it as a CGC 8.5, I would probably just crack it out. That's my advice on that. Decide if you want to sell it or not, but definitely crack it out. And PSA 6, I don't know if Kyogre is your favorite Pokemon, but if not, probably would just get rid of that as well. The main collection honestly looks pretty solid if these are all like your favorite Pokemon and like artworks. And I know you just asked for like general guidance. I would probably just keep these in a binder or your collection, like your favorite artworks. This looks solid to me. I wouldn't change anything about this unless there's cards that you for sure are okay with letting go. And let's see the sale binder. So yeah, just keep selling these. That's what I would do. Either take them to shows. Now, I will say a lot of people are pretty hesitant to take in Japanese at shows. I don't know if that's still the case, but for a lot of the newer era art rares and stuff, a lot of vendors definitely are more hesitant to take in Japanese at shows. At least for market price, they'll probably lowball you. The same with these EXs down here. They're gonna give you like 50 cents for an EX. So could be smarter to sell these on TCG Player or eBay. If you're trying to get closer to market price, again, you'll lose 13%, so you'll get 87%. But I don't know if top loader binder means they're for sale, but these ones might be worth letting go a few. You have the McDonald's promo. I'm not going to give like specific guidance on these ones because you have a pretty good like range. As far as like you have a lot of like Sun and Moon, XY full arts and stuff, which are great. Those are going to be really strong trade bait, and you even have like some Delta species and stuff like that. So honestly, you have pretty good for what it is, pretty good like range on the cards. It just kind of depends on what your goals are. If there's like a specific card or something in mind, I'd probably decide which ones you really can't live without and get rid of the rest and kind of build from there. This collection review only for slabs? No, it is not. It's for whatever people have in their collector portfolio. So some people have slabs, some people have sealed. This one I took a peek at earlier. Holy shit, guys. $271,000 collection. This is huge. Huge. How do you Mew? He says primary goal is long-term investing, $1,000 plus typical monthly budget. Anything specific you'd like me to focus on? He said future growth, things that I should move in order to achieve a better, more well-rounded collection. Sealed advice. Thank you very much. I can definitely do that. You already seem to have a pretty insane collection. Let's just see. Is this the only folder? Yes, it is. Okay. So this one's going to be tough in terms of there's just a lot. I would say just off the bat, because you seem to have a little bit of everything, decide, like I just said, decide what you can live without and also where you feel like you're super heavy. Like with Chris, if I can pull up Chris's again really quick. You don't need to do this, but just what made it easy for me to review Chris's is that he split up his sealed, his slabs, his other TCG and his 151 set that he has. And so it was easy for me to go, okay, he has 80,000 in sealed and he has 35,000 in slabs. I just ran the percentages of like his whole collection, which I think was like 120,000. So which pretty much meant that he was like 70% into sealed, which is honestly a pretty good number for me, like at least 70, 80%. And then the rest, you can kind of choose what you want to do. Would you rather flip slabs, do grading plays, bring singles to shows in a binder or something like that, or take more risk on stuff? That is how I personally like to structure my stuff. So, um, you have such a big collection here, 270K, and you pretty much have a little bit of everything that I would just decide what you can't live without. And so right off the bat, I'm just putting two and two together now. Your name is How Do You Mew? You seem to have a lot of higher end Mew PSA 10s. Those seem to be like ones you're going to want to keep in your collection for sure. So I would keep those. I would keep most of these Sun and Moon XY boxes probably. I would keep your Evolving Skies box. This might be a hot take. I really tried to get rid of oh my god, you have two 151 PC ETB cases. That's insane. I really would try to get rid of some of the not necessarily the bundles or even the what's it called? The UPCs or anything if you want to keep those. A lot of these extra products like the sleeve blister cases, I'm not the biggest fan of. It really depends what price point you got these at too. Again, I'm going to give the same advice I just gave about the Umbreon. Unless you're, well, I guess you maybe want it because the Mew. But if you're not super attached to this card, it's a CGC 10 Pristine for $2,000. I probably would let that go. You have 2 copies. Decide which one of these you want to keep. Sell the other one. Lots of unique ETBs. I honestly, my advice on ETBs, I was totally wrong on ETBs. And even this collection box, I would probably keep these. These end up becoming extremely scarce down the line. You can already see they're at $1,000. I think these were like $300 or $400 last year. So I would keep the ETBs probably, but I would get rid of the booster fund or the sleeve booster cases. That's just me. Unless you really like those products, I'm not a huge fan of them. I would rather have booster box cases or loose booster boxes. This tag team box is like one of the best ones out there, so no rush to sell this. I would probably keep that. Let's see. You have a lot of these like unique UPC products and things like that. Again, same thing as the sleeve boosters. I'm not a huge fan of like these random auxiliary products. The build and battle box displays. Like, what are you going to do with this long term? It's really just like the packs inside that are worth anything. I don't think build and battles really get that much of a premium. I could be wrong, but the growth you're going to see is really going to come from booster boxes or even ETBs and PC ETBs at this point in Scarlet Violet. And you have 3 of these raw promos. I really, again, if it's your favorite card, by all means, keep it. But if I'm starting from the top down here, I am personally keeping all this. I'm trimming the Fusion Strike sleeve boosters. I'm trimming the one of the Chinese promos in a PSA 10 or CGC 10, whichever one you don't like as much, unless you really need both of them. I would keep all the ETBs, keep the UPCs for now, keep all these booster boxes and ETBs, regular ETBs. I would trim this Surging Sparks case. I would trim this Paldea case of sleeve boosters. I would trim the Build and Battle. Team Up pre-release kit, super random. Again, it's Team Up, I get it, but I would probably trim that as well. And let's see where we're at here. Okay, so now we're starting to get into more niche stuff again. I would keep all these ETBs. You can keep the tins as well. These promos are doing really well. Unless you really have an attachment to this Tropical Wind card, I probably would cut that. Let's see. The XY Evolutions pre-release kit is kind of, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Build and Battle Stadium. Ugh. I really just am not a fan. Like, I would rather put this $1,000 towards an Evolving Skies booster box again. Like, You could trim 2 of these. You could trim this pre-release kit and like one of these other cases and buy another Evolving Skies booster box. I would rather do that. Consolidating like a bunch of these products down into one. That way I don't have to try to like track multiple products at once or hope that one goes up the same amount as the other. Instead, I just would funnel it all into one single product. Let's see. Again, kind of the same thing with like, I guess you have to decide like what your goal is with some of these. Like, obviously, this is a super cool product. You have Roaring Skies, Phantom Forces, Primal Clash, and this pin collection. I know this is probably not properly valued. This is probably like a $200 or $300 blister, if I had to guess. But you just kind of have to decide what your goal with this is. Is your goal to rip this one day? Is your goal just because it looks super good on your wall, you want to keep it? Is it to sell to someone at some point? I just have found that as the years go on, even if you look at like EX era blisters, for example, or Diamond Pearl era blisters, I know those price points are like a lot higher, but they still do like struggle to sell. It feels like sometimes. Obviously, they're liquid in the sense that streamers will pick them up, but I would still rather work my way towards like the most liquid products, which would be booster boxes, ETBs, PC ETBs at this point. Booster boxes being my favorite. Kind of the same thing with some of these other tins and like niche collection boxes. Again, you kind of have to decide for yourself what you really want to do with them. Let's see what else. You have all of them. You have all of what? Is this your collection, Jesse? Am I reading yours? Like I would be getting rid of like this build and battle box display. I would be getting rid of this Nessa Shiny Star V exclusive product. Again, can this go to like $600 in a couple years? Sure. But it's just not my favorite. Wait, this is yours? I have all of them build and battles. This is your collection? I'm not trying to be harsh at all. I'm just telling you what I would do personally because I don't even know how you store all this and keep track of it with so much stuff. Um, oh, okay, yeah. Now I'm starting to see. Okay, so you can decide. Okay, it is yours. You can decide if you would like to keep the build and battles. My problem is like if you go to someone and you say, "Hey, I have a fully complete set of build and battle. Every single build and battle there is." I don't think people are going to give as much of a premium as I would see with like I've seen people sell an entire like an entire era's worth of booster boxes. So it'd be like every Sword and Shield era booster box or every XY booster box. And they're able to actually get a decent amount of premium on that because there will be a collector who like is, some high-end collector or some whale that comes in who's just like, that'll go straight to my shelf. That's like every single one I can get from one buyer. I don't have to source it. Okay, you've just been collecting since the start. Yeah, no, this is very impressive. I'm not trying to like downplay what you have because this is like an insane collection by far. And again, I'm assuming Mew is your favorite Pokemon because your username is How Do You Mew. So the Mews are probably off limits for the most part. My thing with the Chinese stuff is just like decide which one you really like the most, keep that one, sell the rest, and convert into like more of those longer term assets that you're comfortable with. But yeah, it's not to downplay like a lot of these products, even though they're like niche, like these are like black and white tins and stuff. They're gonna have super cool packs and promos and products inside. It becomes niche when the day comes that you would like to sell everything. You're gonna have a much harder time getting top dollar when you include the more individual products you include as opposed to like I guess one single type of product. Holy shit. I'm the world record holder for the largest Mew collection. All right, well maybe I can't give you good advice then on this. But is that world record holder in Guinness Book of World Records, or is it just like based on the number of Mew memorabilia you have, or like how do you actually determine that? But if that's the case, then you can still take into account. I don't think there's Mew on any build and battles, is there? Okay, I guess maybe the Fusion Strike ones. Or is that just Gengar? Yeah, you're finishing with them now? Okay. All right. Well, then, in that case, disregard everything I said 20 minutes ago. Keep everything that has a Mew on it then, because now I'm understanding a little bit more. Keep everything with a Mew on it for the Guinness Book of World Records sake. I would keep pretty much all the booster boxes you have, all the ETBs, all the PC ETBs. Well, maybe you can sell some of the PC ETBs, but for now, all this XY, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield booster boxes, ETBs, and any product with Mew on it. That's what we're saying for sure keep. Everything else that's up here, it feels kind of out of place to me. Like the Team Aqua's Kyogre, this card obviously has Moonshot last year. And this one's an 8. So it's just kind of a random grade. I know it's still like $1,000 card. You can kind of make that call for yourself if you want to keep it or not. But those are the types of things I would rotate out of probably. Same, like I said, with the sleeved booster cases. If you really have a plan for these, or like you're gonna rip them one day or something, or like, for a rainy day, you're gonna open the sleeve booster case before you open a booster box case, then I understand it. Otherwise, I would say trim it off. You didn't really put any singles like in this collection, or like with okay, mostly just your sealed stuff. Yeah, this is an insane collection, bro. Like very, very impressive. Definitely the biggest one that I've seen. I mean, I've only done 5 or 6 reviews now, but definitely the biggest one I've seen so far. So very impressive. But my point was just kind of trimming kind of these auxiliary like Japanese products. They're just like niche ones that like you might not need, that you can rotate into something else. Obviously, with what we just talked about, you're going to keep this mythical Mew collection and the raw card probably. All variations of Mews, I'm guessing you're going to keep. Honestly, one like the Umbreon, anything with Umbreon, Gengar, Rayquaza probably in a product I probably would keep as of now. Long term for my family down the line, I'm a little bit ill, so I have to be safe. This was my way. Yeah, no, I mean, hey, I hope you feel better, or like I hope you're able to get the help you need. Yeah, this I'm sure. If you don't mind me asking, have you bought most of this stuff like when it released, or like how much of this did you acquire recently? I guess as opposed to when it first released, because price point also matters with like how long you want to hold something. But I would assume with just the amount of shit you have, there's no way you didn't get a lot of this stuff at release, because it would be very hard to like accumulate all this very niche products. All at retail? Oh my god. Round of applause or lower. That's an authentic, genuine round of applause, because that's very impressive. And that means you've been around for like more than 10 years, or like about 10 years probably. So I'm guessing you joined in like 2013, 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong. But okay, so Jesse, here's my thing. I know nothing about your family. Again, I'm not gonna try to explain that, but something I saw from a stream that Nostalgianomics did with Echo-based collectibles, I think he was doing a similar thing where he had Pokemon investments that he was keeping for his family longer term, if he ever passed away or something. But the reason why I say funneling into more booster boxes or ETBs, or like simplifying down the number of products you have, can be a good strategy, especially in that scenario, is because unless you have someone like, again, I don't know the family dynamic or the structure, unless you have someone close to you or in your will or something that like understands how to sell all of these individual products, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to look up the prices and like the values of like every single little thing. Obviously Collector is doing a pretty good job of tracking most of this stuff. Some of it's inaccurate, but like I would rather funnel 10 200, or let's say 5 $200 products into a single $1,000 booster box than I would to have kept like continue to keep them, and then they have to pack it up. Like they'd have to pack up the collection box into this different packaging to actually get rid of. So just think about that. I do think that like the portfolio itself is so well rounded that the growth will continue no matter kind of what products you have, I think. But at the same time, I think the booster boxes or the ETBs or the PC ETBs will grow at a larger rate than just keeping like too many products across the board. Um, and yeah, packing up and shipping all of these individually will be a nightmare. So, depending on, I don't know your situation, but how mobile you are or how much of this stuff you can sell now, I would maybe just come up with like a couple items if it's more Fusion Strike booster boxes or something that like you're really after and start trimming some of these cards or products that don't really have any meaning to you that you just kept as a store of value that you maybe could rotate into something else that is more consistent and maybe easier to sell, easier to pack up. Like that's what I love about booster boxes and cases is I've just you could do this still with collection boxes too, but like in my garage, I just have a bunch of the same size box that I can just pack up very neatly, a booster box, ship it out, or pack up a single case or two cases, ship it out. Um, and so that makes it really easy as opposed to needing a billion different size boxes. Granted, that's not the hardest thing in the world. If you needed to get like 50, uh, 50 of a bunch of different sizes of boxes. Vend a couple of shows. People buy up a great mix. In my opinion, I enjoy vending a few times a year. Yeah, this is really good advice, I think, from PokePainter. People at card shows love eating up these niche products. Like, love products like, I don't know. I know I said you probably shouldn't sell it, but just like the Umbreon GX box, for example. This is a perfect example of like something someone would keep on their shelf at a show that some Umbreon collector or like someone who's never seen the product before is going to come up to it and be like, wow, I need that. And they will usually pay you very well for those niche collection boxes. I know I had a couple. I had what did I have? A Dragon Majesty box. And I sold it to another vendor because he like loved the Salamence. I wish I held it because it's like $150 more expensive than it was when I sold it. But yeah, it was this box. Wait, no. This box. Really cool box. Cool promo. Dragon Majesty, not the greatest set, but the box as itself really, really held up well over time, even if the cards did not. Really cool promo in there. This half art one is actually cooler than the full art in my opinion. Like ones like these, like people will eat these up at shows. So but if you can't get to a card show, then you may have to figure out a more effective strategy, like having someone local to you meet up somewhere and pick up a bunch of stuff. If they're a streamer, again, be safe, take someone with you, get references and vet that person. But yeah, you just have so much that it's like kind of hard to give like a super fair assessment. 39 Mew promos. Okay, you got to tell me, did you get these? What was the price that you bought these at? Because I know these got as low as $2. I'm curious if you paid, I don't know. I'm gonna guess like $5 to $10 a card. But if you got them for cheaper than that, then you're a G. Like products like this, I've never even seen this collection box, and like I've been like super involved in the last couple of years. I've never even seen this Darkrai V-Star box. Does it just have Astral and Lost? Oh, and Brilliant. It's a pretty cool box, but again, it's like such an inconvenience to have to ship that thing. $2 for, oh my god, for each set of 3. Wait, was there 3 promos? Oh yeah, there was the Mewtwo, the Mew, and the Metal Mew or the Gold Mew. Mew UPC promo pack. I just took 35 at once. That is insane, bro. You turned 70. What is that? $75 into. You are a G. 2 times 35, $70. Or no. Yeah, let's just do 81 times 35. $2,800. A quick 40x. 3,900% return. Bravo, sir. Well done. Well played. Yeah, man, I'm totally like on board with mass-produced promos now. Like I don't have them with me, but I bought not as many as you, but I bought like 10 or 15 of the EV prismatic ETB promos when they were like $4 or $5 a piece. I was able to get them sealed at that price, and I think they're like $15 now. So population on those popular promos, you definitely doesn't mean much. But yeah, you got a little bit of everything. It's crazy. I don't know how you would even assess like what you're attached to. It seems like you get at least one of like almost every product out there. Okay, so here's my strategy. I'm not a huge fan of auxiliary products, but or like these extra products, but I would probably let these cheaper Sword and Shield arrow ones age a little bit more, maybe like another 2 or 3 years. And I would probably get rid of a few of these, like, I don't know, like these blisters. And like, I know they'll probably still do well in the future, but like, you really just have to, I would want to consolidate. It would stress me out to have this many products, but that's just me. The joy of loving Mew. Yeah. I don't even know how to keep track of all this, but it's extremely impressive collection. I definitely could not top this. But my advice would be, just think about if you are going to try to sell at some point. Like I said, it could be difficult if you, God forbid, are no longer around and your family has to sell it. It could be difficult for them to figure out the value of all these. And here's the other thing. It's not even just the shipping of it that becomes difficult. It's getting the comps too. So like those niche products down here that we're looking at, I know they're not like old enough yet really, but like some of them, again, I'm going to use the Umbreon GX box as an example again. This box at some point will probably become very hard to comp out because the last sale will have been like 5 months ago or 6 months ago, and you'll be in a raging bull market like now, and there's just none listed, and so it becomes very hard to comp it out. At that point, you're really going to have to price the price of the packs plus the price of the promos, and then give it some sort of like 15-20% sealed multiplier, and it's just like super overcomplicated. Cut 100K and reallocate. Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. Again, I don't want to give you direct financial advice, but if it were me, I would probably be doing that. You don't need to reallocate right at this instance if you don't feel like there's much opportunity on the market, but I would definitely be looking to like rotate into other stuff, especially while the market's hot and like there is demand for a lot of those niche products. There will always be demand for the older niche stuff still, but it just becomes very hard to find the right buyer. You're going to spend a lot more time looking for a buyer than you might want to. Would you break down a 151 Blooming Waters box? This thing is so freaking huge. I think it depends how many you have. I only have 2 of them right now, so I'm not breaking them down. But yeah, I know lots of people. Jodo Jake, who we've had on the channel many times, he breaks all of them down. So I can't blame anyone for breaking them down. It's ridiculous. They take up like, I don't know, almost 3 feet worth of length. It's so crazy. I appreciate you and your advice. Yeah, man, of course. Always feel free to message me as well for more specifics off stream on Instagram, ZenForceTCG. And I can try to do my best to help you. I really wish you the best of luck with the Mew world record attempt. Let me know how that goes, because I had no idea. I was trying to figure out. I was like, oh, okay, he's a Mew collector. And I was like, okay, let's get rid of these building battles. And then you were like, no, I need them for my Mew memorabilia. You only have one, but it has a mini rip. Yeah, I mean, if it has a rip, I would probably break it down. I call Blooming Waters surfboards. Yeah, they are freaking. They are like a, what is it? Paddle, not a paddleboard. Uh, kickboard. They only count each item as one. So like if you had 10 build-in battles with the Mew artwork, it only counts as a single build-in battle. Okay, no matter how many of each item you have. So then, honestly, that makes it a little bit easier. That means if it's not in a sealed case and you really don't want to keep it, you can get rid of 9 out of 10, let's say. If you're not, again, if you're not super particular about it and you don't really believe in it as long term. Here's the thing, I am not someone who wants to be like, oh, every single product is going to perform as well long term. There are some collection boxes that do extremely well in comparison to booster boxes and ETBs, let's say, but it's just going to be really hard to. I know you kind of have a little bit of everything. Like this collection box, probably one of the best performers out there. Can't zoom in to get an accurate picture of it, but I know the contents of this one are pretty stacked with the promos. And then like another one I saw, obviously this one, I think this is probably one of the best collection boxes there is out there, just because I know that the Umbreon Darkrai and the Espeon Deoxys go for like, I think that Umbreon Darkrai is like over 2,000 to 3,000, and Espeon Deoxys is at or around 1,000. And then you have Cosmic Eclipse packs, Lost Thunder, so it's a very good box. Yeah, the Blooming Waters are very bulky. If storage is an issue, or if like it has any flaws, I would 100% open it. Okay, the next person on our list is West. I don't know if I want to do West's on stream. Let me see what his looks like. Portfolio set to private. I can't even view it, West. I'm gonna have to tell him. I'll have to see his. Let me see if I can view mine real quick, show you guys. Don't want to leak everything, but wait, is this not? Oh, this is not my hold on, let me sign into my. I had to make a new account, I think, on Collector. Let me sign in. Wait, did I? Maybe I don't. Feel free to do mine. Okay, we'll do yours, DJ Soy, and then we'll call it for the night. Because I gotta be out of here at 7. I don't know what just happened. Okay, Red, we'll do yours too. We'll do both of yours and then we'll call it. Let me just mark off which ones I've done so that I can remember for later. Username is sold to top. Okay, let me find it. Do you know what was the? Let me see. I should have asked everyone for their name because like the emails and the names do not match up at all. So it's kind of difficult to find sometimes. Red, what is your collection name? Let's see. Man, I really got to go down here. Red, blue, red. Okay, we'll do both of yours, and then we'll pop out of here. Okay. Where is it? It's not this one. Not this one. DJ Soy's port is goated. I'm trying to find it. I don't know. I only asked for people's emails and their link, and so it doesn't like actually tell me what the name on it is. And I don't want you to dox yourself. Let me see. God, some of you have insane ones, bro. Okay. Soy, can you found? I don't know why I can't find yours. Can you message me privately on Instagram what your email or your name is for the account so that I can just pull it up? Because I looked through all of them. I don't know why I can't find it. But we'll do blues, red blues first. So if you're still here, DJ Soy, please just message me your name or your email on Instagram so I can find it really quick. Because I, of course, did a bad job of setting up the form, and I don't know what your name is. Okay, you pinged me on Insta. Let me check. My phone is bugging. Oh, I did. Okay. I did. Okay. So, Soy, I did yours. I did yours the other day. I just haven't uploaded it. And I haven't sent the email out either. Okay. Let's do yours, and then we'll do Reds. Sorry, Red. Okay, so I did take a look at this. This was, let's see. You had your split out too, I believe, into graded and sealed. So let's start with the sealed just because I know that better. Yeah, yours was super stacked. So yours, you have a lot more consolidated, like I would probably. I know there's a few like loose products. So my advice, very similar to everyone else that I'm going to go over. Oh my God, I didn't even realize I'm not sharing. Sorry. So this is everyone. This is Soy's portfolio or collection, however you want to look at it. Sold to top. He has 55K in sealed, 106K in graded. So quite the whale here. I'm going to do sealed first just because I am more well versed in that. I'm going to give you the same advice I just gave our good friend Mew/Jesse, which is I would probably like this top 5 right here for sealed is extremely stacked. I don't see any reason to change this. I honestly don't even see any reason to change this. I was shocked to see this when I looked the other day. He has, for anyone who doesn't know, 151 booster bundle case. So it's a master case of 6 displays. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 6 displays within a larger box, which is massive. So I know I said the auxiliary products, like the build and battles and even the build and battle stadium, I would get rid of. I will caveat that by saying the booster bundle displays for Prismatic, 151, and even Paldean Fates, for whatever reason, the bundle displays as a sealed product, similar to booster boxes and ETBs to some extent, have sort of solidified themselves as a collectible. In the sense of like keeping them sealed, there is a sealed premium on the booster bundle displays, which I feel like there was not at first. At first, the bundles, you would get like the pack price I think it's actually 10 booster boxes in one display case. You mean 10 bundled displays in one case? Either way, regardless, this is like a very unique product. I probably would hold on to it if you have like a master case of these, and you have 2 of them, which is insane. So everything from these first 2 rows, I probably wouldn't even touch. The Japan's Post box, I would normally say sell it, but the promo itself, I believe, is like $2,300, $2,400 now, if I'm not wrong. Let's just double check that so that I'm not crazy. I believe it is the Pikachu Post. I don't know what the hell is the card number on it. I think you have a raw one. Let me check that. I know you have a raw one or a graded one. Yeah, this one. So this promo is what was it? Over $2,000 in a PSA 10, and then you have the Cramorant as well. So I don't see a reason to sell this if it's only $1,900. Okay, stamp box, my bad. Pikachu 227. So yeah, you got my point. I would probably hold this. I had one of these at one point. Of course, sold it too early when they were like $400. But the only downside to this product is that they are never really truly sealed. I don't know if you noticed that. They kind of have not saran wrap, but they have like the plastic wrap around them. But the actual box itself is not sealed. You can just open them and take the promos out. So just be careful with that. That could be like down the line, if and when these get more expensive, that could be kind of a hassle to sell because you have to like authenticate it. But just keep that in mind. It's shocking that these are performing as well as they are, considering, and maybe that's why the sealed one is like not as expensive, is just because, I mean, it is expensive, but not quite as expensive as like the 2 cards, like in 10s, obviously, is because it's like kind of not fully sealed. Yeah, not fully sealed. So, in the original video, and maybe I'll re-record it, but in the original video, I said, oh, maybe you should sell these UPCs because they're like up double. But honestly, if we're really being honest, these are probably going to continue to do good because you have a freaking golden Charizard and Pikachu in there. I don't see why you really need to sell them. The special boxes are kind of up to you if you want to keep them or not. I know these ones are brand new. I think in the video also I said like I would sell these because they're so new and they're up so much. And I believe I heard news that there is another lottery going live for these now. So again, they might not crash the price, and I'm sure they'll get bought up again, but just know that these are likely due for correction soon because they are redoing the raffle. Yeah, they just opened up a raffle. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Again, if you're able to hold them for like years, which it looks like you are for some products, then maybe it's not a huge concern. They're gorgeous boxes. So as far as like a sealed collection goes, in the original review too, I sort of mentioned like trimming off a lot of these loose Japanese booster boxes and loose packs unless you're really attached to them. But the one exception to the loose Japanese boxes that I really like is obviously EV Heroes. I don't see a reason to sell this, being at $500 a box. Let's see how much the Umbreon in Japanese is. Umbreon VMAX Alt Art Japanese. Because if the raw one is still as expensive as I think it is, that box probably is like overdue to pump. 095 is the card number. Yeah, the Hiroshima boxes are like by far the coolest boxes of the 3, in my opinion. Really good looking box. Let's see. I think can you guys hear me still? My connection was kind of bugging out for a second. Yeah, this is still a very expensive card. Um, I think it's probably worth it to keep these for now. But yeah, I mean, these loose Japanese fossil jungle packs, if you're not super attached to them, I'd probably get rid of them. Chanfrey already mentioned the Tohoku boxes probably are already taking a dip, but that's okay. Boxes, these are probably going to do very well in the future, if I had to guess. Let me just double check to make sure my computer is not about to explode. No, we're doing good. Yeah, Unagawa, I would probably keep. I know there's a lot of them out there, but solid set or solid like promo set. But yeah, I'd probably get rid of all these loose Japanese boxes, these loose packs. These, I mean, these have got to go, bro. I don't know if you feel the same way I do about these, but like there is hundreds of thousands of these out there. I know they're continuing to do very well, but at this point, it feels like less people care about the McDonald's Pikachu as a card and as a collectible as they just do the price point, which again, anyone could say that about anything in this bull market. But when I did the review on these the other day, they were still at like $62 and now they're at 74. I'm even more on the bearish side of this right now. That could just be me. I think in the video I gave you advice to like sell at least half of them. You can do with that information as you will. You have 52 of them, which is a lot, but obviously they've given you very good returns if you got them at like $15, $20. So I would trim off at least 30 to 50% of those, if not more. Let's see what else. Yeah, loose packs, get rid of them. And then everything else, I think you're doing pretty solid. You have like a very like consolidated amount of sealed, which I like for the value. Graded. And I would probably personally I like to be more heavy in sealed, but that's just me. Because when I looked at your graded cards, you obviously have some very big top heavy cards. So there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, that's all I'll say. As far as the graded cards go, I think my advice was kind of like, again, deciding what you really can't live without and trimming off the rest. It's hard for me to think that all of these Chinese cards are going to continue to do what they're doing. I could be wrong, but I just am not a believer in these cards at $1,200 a piece. The Seismitoad, I don't know why this is still even here. You got to get rid of this thing. Again, it could go to $2,000, but the way I try to set up my framework in my mind is that this is a brand new set. They're going to continue printing it for 2 more years. The card is just like super controversial. It's Shinji Kondo, whatever, but it feels unsustainable, I guess is the right word. I don't know. The fact that this even started at $3,000 is insane to me. So, not financial advice. I would sell some of the Chinese cards off. I would sell the Seismitoad. And good to know. Wanted to ask about the sealed to graded ratio. Yeah, it kind of depends. Like, honestly, I don't want to say like you need to convert everything into sealed because the graded cards that you do have at the top here are all very solid. I think these will continue to perform pretty well. It's just hard for me to imagine sometimes like the growth trajectory for certain graded cards in comparison to sealed. But if I were going to keep some of these for sure, like if I had to choose right now which ones to keep, I'm probably keeping the Latios. I'm probably keeping the Pikachu. I would keep the Pikachu over the Mimikyu, honestly. I don't understand how the Mimikyu, it might be because of the pop, how the Mimikyu is so much higher than the Pikachu, honestly. If I'm a betting man, I'm taking the Pikachu over the Mimikyu. I'm fine with you keeping the Gold Star Mew. That's a good one to have. It's a very good one to have. I don't want to understate that. Um, the Chinese Pikachu Gengar is tough, man. Oh, you have the whole set. You don't want to break them up. Yeah, that's. Oh, for the screams or for the Chinese? You're probably talking about the screams. Yeah, you don't have to break up the screen set. I was just saying if I was gonna get rid of like a top heavy card from the top there. You have one of each Umbreon, which I kind of like as far as graded goes. Yeah, for the screams or the munches. Uh, I just can't see this card staying this high, but I could be wrong. If it were me, I'd probably be selling this and these other ones. I mean, you that's 5 grand right there between these three Chinese cards, brand new within the last like 6 months, and they're that expensive. It's just mind boggling to me. But really up to you. I probably would keep the Magikarp and probably the Giratina. This one was interesting. I was looking at this one. I had never actually seen this card. This team, Japan's Pikachu. It's an Adidas collab. It looked like for their soccer team, Japan's soccer team. Um, it's very interesting card in the fact that it's unique. It's a really lackluster artwork, in my opinion, but the card itself and the stamp and even the little message down here about Adidas is like pretty cool. So I'm not gonna say it's not a cool card. It is quite cool. Oh, you got it in Osaka? Yeah, you got to keep that then. That one's dope. Um, I had never seen the card before. It just looks the same as like I don't know the Pikachu on the ball or like Ash's Pikachu or whatever. In terms of like, it's just an artwork taken from like a movie or like one of their old animations. But the card itself is super unique. And I've seen it with the Uniglow promos. Those ones have also done really well. So I don't mind holding on to it. Um, I think when I initially looked at it, I was like, this feels really expensive, but it's an XY promo. So you're probably not going to get that many more of them graded anytime soon, especially not in PSA 10. And yeah, I actually don't mind holding on to that one. The stamp promo is kind of hit or miss in the sense that there's, again, 20 something thousand of them out there. But at this point, Pop Report's gone out the window with some of these. It's such unique artwork, and it's based on an original painting, I believe, that this one will probably continue to do well. I would keep the Gengar probably. The gray felt hat is like, I can't even. Me personally, I didn't want this card at $500. I can't even fathom or understand why someone wants it at 2,000. Not saying you, I'm saying people that are buying it at this price. Um, do with that information as you will. The Mew I like. The Luigi in a 9. Was the Mario also in a 9? No, that was a 10. Mario Luigi, you probably just want to keep as a set, which I understand. Charizard, again, kind of a tough one. It's gone up a lot in the last couple months, but they're going to be stopping reprinting 151 in like under a year, so we'll see. Um, wait, are there 2 Seismitoads? Wait, no. No. Yeah, I'd probably be dumping the Seismitoad, some of the Chinese exclusives, the gray felt hat if you're not super attached to them. And let's see what else. Oh my god, you pulled this? You got to be selling this or grading this like immediately. I mean, this card's going to go down soon, probably, but as far as raw goes, but the problem with grading Japanese cards now is it's really hard to out express people in Japan. You just can't beat the speed at which they're going to grade a new card. But even if you graded it now, it'll still probably be $1,000 to $1,500. Hold in the second box. Wait, oh, did you post that in the Discord? I think you did. I think you did post that. Okay, now I'm remembering. Yeah, that was a fucking gigantic pull. The World Staff promo is kind of niche. Again, I mean, it has all the Paldea starters, which is cool, but I don't understand people wanting those. I mean, I guess it's just because it's like a one of one, not one of one, but like an exclusive stamp. Yeah, that was you. Okay, that was dope. Um, yeah, I think I would just go through and really evaluate what you can't live without. What are your favorites? And just really start to trim everything else. Um, Granted, I think some of the values on these are wrong. Like, there's no way. I could be wrong. Maybe for CGC, the Zubat is $25. That seems too cheap for a reverse, even in CGC 10. But I would go through all of these and really assess what you think has long-term potential. Like, I think I said in the video too, like, the Mega Charizard EX, of course, I could see this doing well in the future, but it's a PSA 8, so it's just kind of a random grade where I would rather sell it and buy the 10 or just sell it and invest in something else. Um, Time to submit as well. Great stream. Yeah, thanks, Jerry. We're going to wrap it up in just a minute after I do one more review. Yeah, I got some older slabs. Probably get rid of those in the lower rated CGC. Yeah, I think that's a good start. Figure out, like, I mean, even if you trimmed like everything down here, you're probably looking at like 2 or 3 grand, I'm guessing, which could be a good starting point. And then if you did that with the sealed as well, with like kind of the loose straggler packs, Japanese, again, assume you're going to lose like 20% just because of all the fees. Even if you sold to one person, they're going to take a chunk off. Or if you sold individually, you're going to lose 13% on most platforms, unless you're at a card show where you could do better. But just keep that in mind. I actually like this Snorlax. This is a random one, but was this artwork in English? It probably was. This is from Double Blaze, which would be Unbroken Bonds. There are some unique cards, but again, they're just so niche where it's like this Umbreon too. $240 and a 10. It's just such a random card. Snorlax is your favorite Pokemon? Okay, then keep that one. Keep that one for sure. That's a gorgeous card. This is the one that the person who did the Eevee promo where it looks like it's burping or whatever. That super silly looking one. You got a couple Charizards. These always do well in terms of trade bait or just flipping. I'm shocked this is this expensive. I honestly, if you're not a huge fan of this card, super cool artwork, don't get me wrong. 300 feels, I guess it started so much higher for Prismatic, but just feels like that money could be better used elsewhere. And like you have a Beckett 9.5 Sylveon. I would either crack this and resubmit it to PSA or just sell it. I don't know why these are so expensive. These were like just exclusive promos. That's why they're so expensive. Kept it for the artwork. Yeah, that's totally fine. I think in the video too, I talked about like this one. I don't understand. This one was so cheap for so long. It's really like a super, in my opinion, kind of mediocre. I don't like the Detective Pikachu that much, but it's $400 in the PSA 10. It just feels like I would rather buy like a booster box of something. Probably not. I'd buy like a Sword and Shield booster box, probably not any of the brand new stuff. That Meowth card shows the original Pallet Town from the game. Yeah, I've heard that. Again, to me it's less about well, if you're doing this for collectors purposes, it just feels expensive. Whether it has the original Pallet Town or not, $400 for it feels expensive for a Meowth card. But it is like an art rare, I guess, and like a promo exclusive, so I could see why it's sought after, but I don't know. I think the good thing is that, like, again, all your top heavy cards are pretty strong where like you're not really in a rush to sell. Like the Munch set, the Munch set will age like fine art at this point itself. And maybe that is why the Pikachu with the gray felt hat is doing so well still, because it's similar to the Munch set, but just I know we talked about like population not mattering, but just the growth rate on this card has been something out of a fucking fairy tale. I don't even know how to explain it. Look at that uptick. Since like I just can't see that this card has doubled in less than a month. It was literally okay. September They don't have September 1st. September 2nd, it was $1,150. It's September 26th now, and it's a $2,200 card. $1,000 increase, almost 100% increase in less than a month. That is a sign to me that it's likely going to drop 20-30%, but I could be wrong. I just don't know who the hell is buying them at 2,200. It's crazy. Oh, I have not heard this. We should be getting that Meowth promo and Phantasmal Flame, so it might be worth selling now before it's no longer exclusive. Where'd you hear that from? Because I have not seen that. I've seen the Ori Choreo that would get, yeah, very high pop. But again, at this point, population doesn't matter too much to me. When you look at ones like the Umbreon or the Lugia, which are over 20K. But the bigger thing is like the rate of growth for me is kind of what is alarming. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I don't know if I gave you like any specific advice really, but I would just, again, kind of audit, trim off some of the loose ends, and really start focusing and consolidating towards whether it really doesn't matter if it's slabs or sealed. Honestly, I know I advocate for sealed, but you could do it with cards like these too that you believe in. Like I'm a believer in the Gengar VMAX at its current price point more than I am the Chinese exclusive Pikachu with Gengar in the background. Like I don't know how the values of these really get determined, but like this just feels like a much stronger investment long term to me than something like this, where it feels like it has more downside than upside in terms of, I know it's an exclusive artwork, but it's in print. Well, it's not in print because they already finished printing them, but it feels very expensive out of the gate. So that's just my advice. Thank you for the review and advice. I will look at how to consolidate. Yeah, again, you can message me on Instagram and we can talk about things more back and forth, but that's just my take. Okay. Red, sorry for the delay. We'll do yours and then we'll get out of here. And I think I'm a little bit late. I want to make sure my girlfriend I was supposed to take her to the airport. I want to see, or to the light rail. Okay, let's see. To give background, I started getting back into collecting about 6 months ago. Probably not as massive as others, but need to always looking forward to expanding other products. I just started getting into sealed and graded. Let's see. Where was yours? I have yours pulled up, but I'm just trying to find your thing in the spreadsheet as well. You said you just submitted yours, right? So it's this one. Yeah. So you said collecting for fun, 100 to 500 a month. So far, collecting things I like, but am looking to invest in more outside of sealed and focus on slabs. Anything that is interesting to look at, gen-wise, or any specific set. Honestly, bro, like you're saying, it's not as massive as others, but 36,000 in 6 months is crazy. I don't know about you. I don't got the bankroll like that. I mean, now I could do more with what I have, but that's a very solid start. So do not downplay what you have already, because that is a massive amount for just starting out. I think, again, everyone's situation is different. Some people are going to have more money than others, but for starting out, that's a very solid amount. As far as what we got here, you got the Umbreon VMAX PSA 10. I would probably keep that. I would keep most of these top ones. I know I just told Soy like the risk around the Pikachu gray felt hat. I would still caution that here, but just because it's already kind of like at the top of the list, I'm going to leave that up to you to decide whether or not you think. It really depends on the price point you got this at. If you got it 6 months ago, where would that have been? 6 months from now would have been March. So even if it has like a, I don't know if you got it in March, but I'm just doing a scenario here. Even if it drops like 30-40%, let's say, like catastrophic drop, you're going to be pretty well insulated price wise. So I think it's okay if you hold it. Same advice goes for soy. I was just saying, if you were looking to cut soy, if you were looking to consolidate, that's why I was um, giving that scenario. Have some that I submitted in the list. Just submitted a PSA as well. Okay, so some of them are raw on here, but you have them at PSA. Got it. That sound about right for price range. Okay, then I think yeah. I think that you can leave it as is just because it's kind of the top portion of the portfolio. And even if it corrects a little bit, you're not in as big of a rush to like, I mean, there shouldn't be a rush to any of this. Don't don't buy and sell things just purely out of emotion. I think you're sort of building a foundation to something that will last. Um, but I think it's still solid to have here. I also still like the Bubble Mew. I think this one's less likely to be volatile because Paldean Fates is going to stop printing next year. And also, this has just been pretty much the best performing card in the Scarlet Violet era. I mean, I guess besides the promos, but main set SIR, this has been pretty much one of, if not the best performing cards. It went from $80 raw to like $600 or $700 raw now. Did you send the Gengar off, Red? Or is it not like well centered or something? I would still keep it, but just I'm curious. The Dialga's a tough one because LP at 700 is very expensive. I know it's so expensive in the PSA 10. It's like 10 grand or 15 grand. No, it was too off center. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, maybe you could use it as trade bait down the line a little bit. I don't know. That one's tough. If you're like wanting to pay for grading fees or like get a couple gradable cards, I don't like hate the idea of trading out of like a card like this or even the Dialga because it's so damn expensive. But at the same time, I totally understand holding it because it's one of the best alt arts, and I think it really only has room to grow. But totally get it either way. Okay, these three. Man, you got. I mean, dude, for saying you've only been in it 6 months, you have really good like foundation for like chase cards. I don't think there's any struggle in terms of if you were to go to sell or like consolidate or like reduce down to make a different play. These are all cards that will move so fast like that the next day because they're so liquid in terms of they're just the most sought after cards from each of these sets. So I would say you did a good job as far as picking cards to move forward with. I got a lot of these before they jumped up too, thankfully. Yeah, so just keeping that in mind. If anything is going to correct soon, like even if we have like a market downturn, I would say the newer stuff, the Scarlet Violet era stuff will correct the most, at least up front. But obviously like everything kind of moves in synchronicity with each other a little bit where like these you could see 10-20% drops on some of these no problem. Let's see, there's a couple Japanese chase cards too. I have nothing against Japanese. I just usually do English only because it makes it easier for not only tracking purposes but also I just kind of know my buyer pool. But I mean, as far as the tag teams, the alt arts, these full arts, XY full arts, I mean, these are all very solid. I don't think there's any reason to get out of these unless there's like a specific item you had in mind that you're like after. The Japanese ones could go either way. The Japanese Charizard is growing at a lot slower rate now than the English one. And I think same with the Greninja, but obviously they're much easier to grade. So if these are gradable, Red, I would probably grade these and sell the 10s because you could get like a 2 to 3x off these. The Japanese ones are going to be a lot better quality, which you probably already know. I would do that with all the Japanese cards I have here. Check them, see if they're gradable, send them off to PSA if I could. I think where it starts to get a little bit out of my wheelhouse is once you start getting more of these vintage and also these ranging conditions. LP, MP, LP, PSA 9 Dark Raichu. This card will sell fine, but it's just kind of a random edition. So unless you have a particular attachment to it, I don't see an issue in trimming those out. These are obviously, I would, if I had to keep any of these like LP, MP cards, it would probably be the Armored Mewtwo or this Pikachu. But yeah, it's just becomes a struggle sometimes to get like top dollar for things, even when they're sought after, when the condition varies a little bit. But the Armored Mewtwo, I don't think you'd struggle getting whatever full market price is on LP. The Detective Pikachu, again, I don't understand this card very well in terms of why it's on such a big run. I mean, again, if you bought it 6 months ago, it's gone up 300% almost since then. So if it were me, I would probably be selling it. But that's just my personal stance on that. Honestly, this Gardevoir is surprisingly expensive still. I know it came down a bit, but for being $150, that's pretty good. So again, all those Japanese ones. Oh, it's still sealed? Okay. So it's probably a little bit more expensive then. It's still sealed. You're talking about the Detective Pikachu. I would check the condition on all of these Japanese cards and 100% send them off if they're gradable. This Umbreon, 100%. Dude, how is the Umbreon? Don't you get all the promos in the Unigaba boxes? Or do you get packs, don't you? You get like 10 or... Can someone let me know in the chat? Do you get like 16 packs or 10 packs? Or do you get all the promos guaranteed? I think it's just packs. Unigaba box EV. You get packs? Okay. Let's see. Do any of these show you? How many packs do you get? Not guaranteed. Okay. How many packs do you get? 4? No. It's got to be more than that, right? You get 4 packs? Yeah, 1 card per pack. I knew that. But how many packs do you get in a box? If it's 4, I'm going to lose my mind. Please don't say 4. Please don't say 4 packs, bro. That's insane. Oh my god, that's insane. Whatever. Something I'll never understand. Let's see. Yeah, man, I mean, if I'm giving you the honest truth, for someone that's only started 6 months ago, I will say I've seen people doing a lot worse in terms of struggling to find the right cards, chases, just taking a long time for them to acclimate to the hobby. You have done a really good job of finding cards that are extremely liquid. If you brought these to anyone in a binder, PSA 9, 10, even 8s, these are going to do so well as far as getting what you're after. Any vendor that you're going to trade with will take all of these cards again at some percentage, or if you sell them online on Facebook, you can get pretty much near market value on all of them. Are there even packs in there? Isn't it a deck box and a Mac? I think there are packs in there because otherwise it wouldn't be $200. Box EV packs. I don't know how many you get, Ragnarok, but I think you get... It looks like 4. It looks like 4 just based on what I'm seeing on all these photos. And then you get a randomized EV promo. Obviously, one of these 9. But it makes sense because this was like a $200 box I think I was looking at, or $180. And just the Umbreon alone is like 120, 130 bucks. So kind of makes sense to me. Also try to be as conservative as possible to condition. So I don't know if they're actually as bad as you put in there. I mean, that's good. That's even better. I know it's hard to assess, especially on those XY full arts. Sometimes LP, what seems to be LP on like a Scarlet Violet or Sword and Shield era card is really near mint on a lot of XY cards because they just the print quality is so botched back then that the corners and everything is so chopped. All right, Soy, thanks for dropping by. Also, congrats on that Megazard X pull. That thing is massive. I know you said you're going to grade it. Yeah, great collections, everyone. Yeah, you guys all have done really well. So, yeah, I don't think there's much else for me to say here. You really do have like such a well spread range of cards. My biggest piece of advice is grading a lot of the Japanese cards, especially just because I know the quality is going to be a lot better, and trying to get some 10s, especially on the newer stuff, like those megas that you have. But you're doing a really solid job. I really can't like give much advice as far as uh, the singles you've chosen. I know you said you were like looking for graded as well. Any sealed recommendations for now? I really think at this point, given the like how expensive Scarlet and Violet has gotten, I do still think that Sword and Shield is probably the best bet for booster boxes right now. And I'm talking Astral at 400 or whatever, 370. I feel like is a better buy right now than Destined or Mega Evolutions at 300 or 400. That's going to be a hot take. I know Destined is like 500 or something, but just to give perspective, when I bought Destined for 1400 a case, which is 240 a box, that felt steep. Like back in May, everyone was kind of like sweating, like, is this set going to go up? Like, they're going to reprint it soon. I just got one case because I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one case because if I don't get a case and it goes up, I'm going to be upset. But if I get a bunch of cases and they reprint the shit out of it and it goes down, I'm going to also be upset. But Pokemon has not been reprinting anything as far as booster boxes go, really. I think Surging Sparks is the only one that I've seen gotten multiple reprints. Honestly, Surging is probably the best sealed recommendation I would give. I know I said Sword and Shield over Scarlet and Violet, but Surging, I think it was like, okay, it's almost at 300 now. When I was looking at it the other day, it was like 260. I wouldn't mind picking up a case of Surging if you could get this for like, I mean, I guess they're 300 a box. If you could get this for just under 1800, I think that's a good buy. Just because they've already reprinted it several times. And then I know, like, I would get like Scarlet Violet base or something. Like, I mean, it's hard for me to give advice on these because they're so expensive now already. But it's going to go out of print next year. The case is like 1400. I don't hate that. It has the Drowsy, has the Gardevoir. So it's got good cards. It's just like there's no like big chase in it, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, my favorites were always like my favorite is Temporal. That's like my by far, bar none. That's my favorite one. But I think even that one has seen a decent increase. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. It's crossing. I don't know if those are consistently at 2K, but like there's none listed anymore. It's insane. Unless they reprint more. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Red, my best advice if I were to give you super solid advice, I would say rack up, sell off all your loose ends or graded cards that you get back that you're not super particular about. If you want to make a position in sealed, my advice would be this: buy one booster box from Sword and Shield era, kind of in that, let's say, $300 to $500 price range. I guess they're all $300, so $400 to $500 price range. Buy one booster box, and then I would buy one SV era case for like under 2,000. So Surging really looks to be the most appealing price wise to me, just because I know the rest of them are pretty much between 15 to 1,800 ish a case. So if you can get Surging at 17, 1,800, I don't hate that, because I know it's still in print, but it's been reprinted three times already with booster boxes, and so I believe the market's starting to price that in a little bit. And it's like the same price almost as some of these other lower end sets. So my advice as far as sealed goes would be get one booster box from Sword and Shield, get one case from Scarlet Violet, and then any money you have left over on the side, just looking for an opportunity if it pops up, really good price or discounted off market that you're interested in. As far as graded goes, I think just doing what you're doing, like you're picking all the right cards. It really just comes down to like how good you are at grading. I am dog shit at grading, apparently. So don't take advice from me. But I will say I have graded some tag team cards, and PSA is not particularly strict on the centering on these. So like they don't really understand sometimes that there's two, like the border is sort of delineated by this giant black line. And so sometimes I've seen them where like this black line is super wonky to the left or the right, and they'll still give it a 10. So just keep that in mind. But I would grade your Japanese cards, most of them. Any of them that you're not like wanting to keep for PC or you don't see the long-term value play, I would flip them, and rotate into either the sealed or like singles that you believe in. I think you have done the best job picking out the right singles. Like you kind of just went for all the top chases and like the very liquid cards, and you pretty much got most of them. So I can't really give you any better advice on that because you're doing a great job with those. And then it looks like the rest down here, I don't know if these are like PC or just like ones you've stacked up, but obviously it's just kind of a mixture of things down here. But the top end is like crazy how well you did with like raw near mint Gengar. This card is going to be a very good one to have. Okay, PC. Okay. So yeah, I would assess what your goals are for the PC. Is it to get a certain type of Pokemon? Is it to fill out a certain binder? Is it to collect a certain era or set? But at $350, that's insane. That's such a good price. I think you asked your question, is there anything that is interesting to look at gen wise or any specific set? I don't know. It's tough because like the advice 6 months ago would have been to get into megas, but megas have already seen such a big uptick that it's hard to say that those are the play anymore. Gen wise, I know this is like beating a dead horse, but I would be looking at Sword and Shield era because it's gone out of print now. A lot of the boxes have really started to move. The whole point of this stream at the beginning was talking about how a lot of these alt art Vs have really started to uptick. There's a decent amount of, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the stream, but sort of talked about there's a decent amount of VMAXs that have not seen the growth that a lot of the V counterparts have seen. And so it's becoming very attractive to me when I see the Umbreon and the Dragonite up 100 to 150% in the last 3 months. But then when I look at the Rayquaza, I know you have the Rayquaza in your collection already, I think. But I look at the Rayquaza, and the Rayquaza has done nothing but go down in the last 6 months. But the PSA 10 of this is like almost $2,000. So that's very attractive to me, not only as someone who could potentially grade and flip it, but as someone who is just looking at like, it's a popular Pokemon. It hasn't really moved recently, but yet everything else around it is moving. Same with the Leafeon VMAX. Same with the Sylveon VMAX. I don't know how these other Evolution VMAXs are not moving. I don't know if it's just because they're easier to grade than the Vs. But this card is down from mid to low 400s down to low 300s now. And so cards like this to me start to seem like a good buy because I'm like, I could see these rebounding, all of them, to, I mean, they're pretty much all in like the same for the VMAXs in that $300 to $400 price range. Glaceon's even lower. Glaceon at 280. I mean, this card needs to be more expensive in my opinion, but do with that as you will. No, Connor, this is the last one we're doing tonight. I'm so beat, but I have a lot of them to do still on the side, so I will get around to them. Some are for binder pages, other for personal memories. Okay, then just sort out through what each of those, which cards fulfill those needs, and then everything else that you don't feel that urge or instinct towards, I would start to filter through. This is my grading pile. This is my, they're not good enough to grade, but they still retain really good value. I'm going to bring them to a card show or sell them online, Facebook groups, Discord, Instagram, all that good stuff. And yeah, then I would come up with a plan for like, what is my long-term goal? Is it to get a certain type of card? Is it to grade more PSA 10s? Is it to get more sealed and sort of like allocate according to that? Thoughts on the Mega Evolution promos that released today? I have no idea which promos they were. Connor, do you know? Let me see if Poke Beach posted. Oh, the deck promos? Fuck, I could care less about them. They had already been announced, but they were yeah, I could care less about them. I don't really like the Haunter personally. I know a lot of people do like it. And then the Gengar, I don't care about a regular EX. It's a cool card, but honestly, the Diancie and the Meloetta look better than the Haunter and the Mega Gengar, in my opinion. No? Okay, which ones? Which ones? The Zerny? Oh, the GameStop ones. Where are those? I'm not a huge fan of like GameStop exclusive promos because they're always like half arts. I mean, they're cool artworks, but I wouldn't be buying a shit ton of them. Special foils. They have special foiling. I gotta close all these pages. My computer's bugging again, bro. It's like frozen. Yeah, Red. No problem. Anytime. Again, feel free to message me on Instagram if you have any other questions. Okay, let me double check this again. Xerneas Yveltal. Dude, my computer is literally like in maximum overdrive trying to search right now. Okay, so it's these two. Where is the promo or the foiling? I would have to see it, Connor. But my opinion on this is it's a free card. I know it's stamped. I know you have to like do certain things to get it. But Yveltal and Xerneas are not like the craziest Pokemon to begin with. Not enough pixels. Yeah, no, I need to actually like upgrade my whole setup. Like I'm gonna have to get a new GPU and I think even motherboard and stuff, or CPU and motherboard and stuff, because my computer, it's a self-built PC. It can't even run Windows 11 now, and so I'm gonna get phased out like next month, I think. So I'm gonna have to spend a freaking $800 to upgrade. Talking about the Galaxy foils or Cosmos foils. I have no idea. Yeah, Connor, I will message you more about advice for the uploads because I am feeling a little bit discouraged. I just feel like I'm not super motivated, but I will figure out something that works. But yeah, thank you all. I think we're gonna wrap it there. I'm beat. Um, Again, if you want your collection reviewed as well, we have. Let me pull it up. Or if you want me to do what I just did to those fine collectors and investors portfolios, which was go over it. I have a form. Link is in the description. I will give you my honest feedback and we'll write it in email and video, hopefully, if you're okay with that. And yeah, we also have a free Discord down below. Click the link in the description. Good night, Connor. Peace out. Love the content. Good luck on your future videos. Love the style. Yeah, thank you, Red. I am going to try to figure out a way to edit the reviews down, at least to get like the bulk, not the bulk, but like the most important part of the review, or like if there's something super special in someone's collection, that's hopefully what I was going to highlight on like reels or shorts. And then we'll do like the longer form of the review in the live streams if we have time. Peace, 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 peace. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. And I will see you next week. We're going to have a very exciting guest on Tuesday for the stream. Zippy's Card Corner. If anyone has seen his content, he is popping off recently. I want to ask him a lot of questions, not only about the market stuff, but also editing advice, because he's doing it right if you have seen any of his videos. So thank you all again. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Peace.